All right, hi everyone. Can you guys hear me okay? Waiting for a couple replies just to make sure that the audio is going okay. Yep, you can hear. Okay, great. Okay, so this is the first YouTube live stream. So apologize for any kind of mistakes ahead of time as we learned how to do this a little bit better. The But let's go ahead and get right into it. So the purpose of this webinar today is just to talk about trading process. And if you're new, you might not even realize you need to discover your trading process. That what is the trading process, right? You just go, hey, I got an alert, and I just buy this, and I'm going to make money, right? And you're just like, I know I was kind of somewhat clueless, or I saw a oh hey, this stock got a upgrade, so I'm just gonna buy it, and then like, why is it down a whole bunch? And I lost money, right? And so you're just kind of going off of a feel, and you don't realize that there's actually a process that you need to have, right? There's a lot of pieces to it. So we're going to kind of go through and talk about a little bit about that. But a little bit about me. For I don't know if everyone knows about me. So I'm Spectre. Uh, the I can be found on Twitter at Spectre Trades, or you can email me at spectre@edumomo.com. I've been trading for a while. I've got probably well over 10,000 hours of screen time. And that's just me looking at charts like 8 hours a day for a very 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 long time, and then on weekends going back and looking at more charts and and then pre-market and after hours price action. And so for a very long time I've looked at how things act in high volume situations and low volume situations. My personal challenges is that I'm slow to change behavior, and I'm mostly self-taught. I probably could have shortcut a lot of the time it took me to learn if I bothered to just try to learn from other people. But I am a tenacious son of a bitch, and so I just keep at it until I can figure it out. And that's actually part of one of the problems I ran into, and that was with trading in the middle of the day, right? It's a horrible time, bad risk reward, but I was tenacious and I'm like, hey, I can figure it out. I can figure it out. I can figure it out. Meanwhile, my account's dwindling only because I wanted. I was like demanding of myself to be able to figure out chop. Stupid, right? So, anyways, yeah. So over this time, I think I've made every mistake possible. I'm sure there's a few I haven't found yet, but the but you'll be surprised if you're talking with me, and I kind of already know what you felt or you probably did, or you're even about to do, and that's because I've been there, and probably more than once. So, anyways, that's a little bit about me. Now, my style of trading, I like to focus on 2 hours a day, and try to make grow my account by 1 to 5%. And if I can do that, you guys have I've published a power of 1% and the compounding effect, and how powerful that is. And so that's a bit of my philosophy in how I trade and what I gear my trading process toward, is so that I can achieve my 1% plus a day, and then I reverse engineer from there. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, and then Edumomo.com. And so Edumomo.com is a company that's focused on developing profitable traders in less time, right? So typically, a lot of, I said the industry standard from everyone I've talked to is that it typically takes 3 years to become a consistent profitable trader. And I believe that the we can bring it down to under a year. And from the for the last year or so, I have in a small form been working with a handful of people to see whether or not that's true. And I would say that I think we've achieved what we're setting out to do, and have come up with some good processes, and we're continuing to improve on those. But we're kind of in a place where we're kind of opening that up to more people now. So yeah, so we're focused on education, and then we're also Edumomo.com is focused on developing tools and services to help traders trade better, and more will come on that. And but that's a little bit about what Edumomo.com, why you see the watch list each morning, and the comments are in there. Is the intent was, hey, you can learn a little bit while you're from this watch list. Um, so okay, let's go on. So let's tell you a couple stories about some people I've worked with, and so recently, I got a message from someone saying that they loved my watch list. I was like super excited, and I might have the numbers a little bit off. Actually, I talked to this person again just to confirm, and so they had told me they actually had started with a $30,000 account, and it dropped down to 7,000. And somewhere in that process, they they discovered my watch list and started paying attention to how I was trading, and looking at the watches, helping them. And they eventually were able to grow that account from 70,000 to I thought it was 70, but it went to I think $90,000. And so we've been chit chatting every now and then, and he messaged back to me, and that he could go, But I first I talked to him. I think he said he was at 35 or 45, and then I talked to him like a week later, and he's now at 65, and this. And I said, hey, look, I'm not sure about exactly how you're trading, but you're gonna blow up. Like I had a feeling, I knew what he was doing. He was kind of going all in, and we were in that big grind up, and sure enough, he got to 90K, and then I don't remember if it was 1 week or 2 week, but I got a message back to him saying, yeah, he's back at 10K. And the reason I'm sharing this, well, I think it was I think it was 10K, but I think it was a week, it might have been two. But the reason I'm sharing this story is that he had a process that was kind of working, that worked in a certain environment, but he didn't have his risk management under control, right? So he was able to grow this, grow, but he didn't realize that what he was doing was actually still setting him up for a fail later. And I said, hey, we gotta figure that out. You gotta change that you're doing. And he's like, no, I'm gonna get over 100K. I think the six-figure mark, when people get really close to it, a lot of people will just take other risks that they don't need to, just to get to that hump, and then it just pushes them back. And then what happens when you take a big loss is it puts you into this spin. It can put you into a spin where you win a revenge trade and you go bigger than you even should, because that was working before, and it just doesn't work out. And so so that happens, right? So it didn't have a good process yet. Was able to experience what the market's able to give, which is great, right? And now I've been working with him, and I'm impressed with how well he's doing. And he's actually took the advice to heart. So he was, instead of focusing on making money, he's now focusing on developing his process. And it's really, really, really great to see how he's doing that. But one of the challenges I gave him was, hey, take a small account for 20 to 40 days, try to make $100 a day, and not blow that account up, staying small. And so yeah, so he's been doing amazing, and he's even come up with a couple of more refinements that I'm impressed to see, and we're going to go over that another time. So that's one story. So I'm going to go through another story. So there's another trader that I started working with a while ago. I think it was about almost been a year, and he was struggling at 20K for a while, and he'd make $3,000 in a few minutes, right? At the open, he'd make $3 grand, and then he'd take another trade, and suddenly he'd lose $2 grand, and then He would kept doing this back and back, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and then finally decided, hey, I'm going to restart with 5K. Um, he, I think before that he was confidence shaken because you're just kind of wrecked. He was having marriage issues again. That's all. There's a lot of psychology and stuff that happens to this. And the thing we tweaked was, hey, go get a job, right? Just go get a job. It's going to help alleviate a lot of the stress because you can't really trade well when you're worried about, it's life and death every day. And if you're worried and you're trading with the emotion of today is life and death every day, you're going to make mistakes. And so he did. He took the advice to heart, and he went and got a job. Like life is great. He called me one day and brought tears to my eyes, just saying how things had changed in his life, and it was pretty awesome to, and think that affected him so well. And fast forward today, his account went from in less than a year, from 5,000 to 80,000, making consistent gains, and now he's able to make $3,000 to $5,000 a week part time. He's not sitting at his desk looking at charts all day long, right? And I trust what he's seeing now. Like I know exactly what he's looking at more often than not. And then when he mentions a ticker and says, "Hey, I like it for this," I already know what the setup is probably looking at. When I flip at that chart, I already know and can trust that, hey, that might work, and so then I'm just looking at, hey, what's the risk reward on this to take that trade? So what a difference in a year, in just a year, actually, right? And it took me years, right? I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have anybody who who helped me kind of figure the issues I was having and out, and I just kept pounding at it and did it the slow way, and there's no need to. Um, so it was really just really great to see that by going from how he traded um, to today where he's got a process, he's consistent, and his accounts just growing. God, it's so great to see. So okay, let's continue. So can you guys relate to this? Like, so what's stopping you from achieving your goals in trading, right? And my answer to this is that it's just one thing: having a framework for developing your trading process, right? Well, you also need a lot of hard work and personal development, right? That's where the psychology comes in. But I think what's kind of missing out there in our world is that there's just no framework for figuring out your process, right? And yeah, impatience is chemo. Impatience is absolutely part of it, right? But why are you impatient, right? Because you don't have the trust of what is going to come, so you want it now. At least that's what I believe, right? Is that, but you can have patience if you have faith that a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, what you're doing is going to give you what you want, right? It takes that need for today to pay you because you know you're going to get paid a year from now, and I'm talking in the order of magnitude, right? I mean, look, in less than a year from 5K to 80, I wouldn't be surprised if he's close to 500K within the next year, right? Within the next 6 months, I wouldn't be surprised. Um, the the so so yeah, so you're great. Again, you're focused on that one little aspect, right? You're letting all your green trades turn to red, but why, right? So what's going on in that system that you have with your entries and your exits? So having a framework to kind of go through and reanalyze your trades, to go, hey, what do I need to change to do better? That's what's kind of needed, right? Yeah. So you guys know it happens, and if it's happening over and over again, that means there's something you need to change. So let's go. So let's talk about what is the trading process, right? What's involved with trading that way. So you need to know a number of things. So this is things that you might want to take notes on. Okay, what trade setups are you going to focus on? You don't need to go and take every single trade that's out there, every single setup out there. You don't need to. Okay, you just don't. You don't need to overtrade. You don't need to chase after everything that's shiny. You don't have to go if you're an option flow subscriber. You don't need to go after every piece of option. You need to have criteria. You have to have a way to select and filter out the bad so that you can focus on just the good, right? And so I'd say take a look at the setups that you're working on, that you have, and write down the best two, three, four that have consistently paid you. Focus on those. Then you have ticker selection, right? And this is where, okay, what stocks should you focus on today? What's going to move, right? And then it might be, and that's all. That's a number of other things. Then you have money management, risk management. You have your entries and exit management. When do you enter? When do you exit? What tools and services do you need to support your trading process? You got to have that figured out. You have to have a step or a process to check your mental state, right? And because you need mental capital in this. Yeah, you have financial capital, but you also need mental capital. Right? Like I found that I'll get exhausted if I'm trading all day long, which is part of why I kind of also stopped. Was that I'm exhausted, and then by the time that a great trade setup comes up, I can't capitalize on it because I'm all spent, right? And so you have to have a way to do a check. And sometimes you show up in the morning and you're just not feeling right. You need to not trade. Like some of my worst trading days have come because I'm trying to take trades um, because I kind of I can trade every day, right? And I wanna always perform. But some days you just shouldn't, right? It's just your mind is not right. Your mind is not there. Um, and so you gotta have that check in place and having that check to go, hey, today might not be a good day for me to trade, and so having that's gonna give you days, right? Because when you make a red day or you lose a series of red days, it takes you twice that to get back, right? Because you have the time it takes for you to recover that loss, and then you have the time that setback in time for achieving your goal, right? And so gotta have that, and then a process for continuous improvement. Uh, so I did come from an engineering background and was an industrial engineer on paper. I never used it after college. But one of the things we focused on was as in our processes, how do you always improve on it, right? And so part of that is when you take your trades and you do your trade reviews, it's not, hey, did I make money or not? It's how well did I execute trades, right? Was my entry good? Was my exit good? Can I make a change? Right? And guys, you shouldn't be focused on optimizing your profit. You have to be focused on your repeatability of a decent profit. Okay? So just think about that. All right, so let's keep going. Okay, so what don't I have listed in this list? Right? A magic indicator. RSI, MACD, moving average. I don't I'm not listing that, right? Because that's when you're a new trader, a lot of people go and focus on the technicals and finding that magic indicator that's going to tell you when to get in and when to get out. Okay? And they spend all their energy looking and searching for that magic indicator. I would say that if you to divvy up trading, I would say that 20% of trading is the technicals. I mean, it's a very important part, but it's 20%. The other 70% is money management and psychology, right? How are you going to manage your trade? How are you going to deal with the emotions if you have a big reversal on you, or whether or not you're absolutely the trade is wrong, but you've sized too big and preventing yourself from sizing too big, preventing yourself from not stopping out. So dealing with the psychology around executing these trades. Is everyone able to see the slides, by the way? I want to make sure that there's not an issue. Yeah, you're able to see. Okay, okay, great. I just got a message saying that they're not. Someone's not. Okay, great. So then okay, wait. 70 and 20. What's left? 10%. Part of that 10%, I say that's luck, right? There's some of it that is luck, where luck is involved. Okay, and so so yeah, so just gotta accept that that's part of this. All right. So trade setups. There are lot. There's so many different kinds of trade setups out there. I'm not going to get there's we don't have the time to do it in this video, but they're very specific to a person's style, right? So there's setups that are great for a fast scalp, where you're in something in maybe minutes or seconds. Then there's intraday scalps that are trades where they might last some 15 minutes to a couple of hours, maybe all day. And then you have swing trades and setups for that, and entries and timing for swings that are multi-day trades, right? So you got to figure out what setup you're doing and set that context for each trade that you're getting into. Okay, then you have ticker selection, right? What I mean by that is, so based on your style of trading, are you looking for momentum tickers? Are you looking for technical movers, like things that are bouncing off the 200 moving average, or things that are bouncing or rejecting a Bollinger Band, or a regression channel, or something that you're using to identify potential trades? Then are you looking at for catalyst driven moves? It's that kind of goes hand in hand with momentum. That's my style. Is momentum and catalyst driven? So things that are news is driving something. Then there's also ER run ups and a retracement. So after the news comes out, there's sometimes pullbacks after ER results, and there's trade setups for those. And then there's something called like a bottom feeder swing trade, where something's been just basing for a long time, 2 3 months at a support level, and then it's getting ready that it's about to run. That's a great swing type of trade setup. But you can see that by having understanding what those setups are that you're focused on will help you figure out what tickers you need to watch, right? So you need to have a process around that, not just randomly pick tickers because it happens to be fun for the day. You need to go, hey, does the ticker and the way it moves align with your setups? Okay, so just let me introduce partner. He recently discovered my watch list, and that kind of helped with some ticker selection. So, uh, partner, can you share a little bit about your thoughts or story about the watch list ticker selection?
Yeah, so I mean, like when I started using your watch list, I was I was saying that okay, why I getting this all this watch list? Why this guy is selecting this stocks and not the other stocks? And then later on, I realized that wow, those are been selected because those are having a great momentum, and it can really pay out to a theme of a risk reward. Like you invest one and you gain three, and those were the main purpose of that the watch list. And trust me, Spectre, the levels on that watch list is amazing. We love those levels. We have seen uh, time and again those things happening up with the Roku and other great momentum stocks that we are seeing it, and it's been fantastic. And the first thing that I do the morning is the watch list. If the Spectre watch list is out or not. That's the first thing, not even news. In earlier days, I used to go on the news channel and see the news. No, I don't look at those things now anymore. The first things I do is now your watch list and set up the alerts based on the levels that has been mentions on the watch list. And it great do wonders with my trades right now.
Right. So I think you're and based now that you've selected tickers better and have those levels. I think your profitability has gone up quite a bit, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I've been sharing a couple of great profits on a Twitter and a Facebook account, and it's been great. I'm like I have a couple of private groups, and people are asking me like, what has happened to you? What has turned around? And trust me, my uh, style has changed. Also, I started thinking more of like a risk reward. There are so many trades which are available in a day, but if there are no risk reward in that, I don't get into it. Like I should be risking one to gain minimum three, otherwise don't get into. And all thanks to you to bring that uh, inculcate in our mind. It is great, paying out well. Trust me.
Yeah, no, I've seen what what's been happening with your account, and I am impressed with how quickly you were able to accept and adapt to someone else's suggestions, right? Because again, I came from a place where I'm just stubborn and I'm slow to change sometimes, and then to see someone, hey, just take a look, take some of this advice and make adjustments, and then get the kind of results here. That's pretty awesome. I love it.
Yeah, and I
Uh,
just want like it took me a little while, like probably 2 weeks, to get away from my own style and start adopting your style because my style was not paying me off well, right? But and to get away with that style, which I've been doing it for like last many years, took me 2 weeks to get to your style. And now it's been like a couple of weeks now. I'm just using your style of trading. And now I talk to my friends also. And like, did you got into that? Was it the right risk reward? Like otherwise you should not. Yeah,
I know. I always drill that into everybody.
yeah, exactly. And so it's
Um,
great. Thanks for that bringing into us.
yeah, the yeah, yeah. So that's so great to hear that. Good job. Um, and just keep at it, man. All right, let's continue. I just want to share a little bit about how tweaks to your process can make a big difference. Oh, am I still muted? Nope. Okay. All right. So this comes down to that next section, right? Money, and risk management, right? So where you need to have a process and a way for how do you size appropriately, how do you set your stops properly, planning. So part of your money and risk management is you're not going to be right all the time, and you got to plan for a losing streak, right? So that means you can't be risking 10% of your account on every trade out there. If you do that, you're wrong 10 times in a row, your account's blown, gone. And then also being able to scale in and out, and that's a little more advanced. But but that can also affect how you manage your risk, right? You can, so when you're unsure, but you're kind of thinking, hey, it could start working, you can always go smaller. You don't have to be full size for your full risk. And then when it starts working, you can add to the position. And once it proves itself, you can even add more. Um, and versus, so versus every single trade, you're risking your full amount. So that's an advanced technique. But uh, the important thing is developing that process, writing it down, and say, okay, when should I be entering? When should I be exiting? I mean, I'm not trying to phrase that. Well, that's part of it, but also what size should I be using at each place. Um, then there's ask yourself how many trades does it take for me to blow up my account based on the size I'm using, and then use that to help figure out what your risk management. All right, so let's talk about let's meet Mo. He was struggling, and today's a consistent trader, and I think part of what has really helped him is getting his risk and capital management under control.
Hey guys, hope everyone's doing well. And as Spectre mentioned, I've actually gone from a struggling trader to a consistent trader. And I wake up every day feeling very confident and dangerous that it's going to be a green day. And the reason for that is, when I started trading, I did not have a repeatable process. I was more or less blindly chasing candles, big, beautiful candles, and not thinking about the risk or the reward that came with the trades that I was taking. And working with Spectre, being mentored by him, I honed my skills. I developed strategies which are repeatable day in, day out, identified setups that occur on a daily or every other day. And that's pretty much the key to my success, that creating a consistent process for identifying good setups and executing them while thinking about not only what I can stand to make on a trade, but what can I lose if the trade doesn't work out either, right? Because when a lot of newbies start, they assume every trade's going to work out, or they don't respect their, stop losses, or they don't even have a stop loss sometimes. They're like, I'm doing a YOLO. And that is the worst way to start off trading, because that's how you blow up your account. And then your confidence gets rattled and kind of like, slows down your learning curve from where it should be. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. Consistency, risk management, and respecting your stop losses. And one more thing, like trading is not a get rich quick scheme. It's a marathon, not a sprint. You have to put in the screen time. As Spectre mentioned, 10,000 screen hours for him. So you can't start off and assume that within a couple of weeks, like 100 hours in, you're going to be a maestro. It's going to take longer. But the more effort you put in, the more willing you are to learn, more better the reward will be when it comes. Spectre, do you want to chime in with anything?
Yeah, no, perfect, exactly. And so I'd say the big takeaway is, wouldn't you wish that if you had at the start someone had said, hey, sat you down and say, hey, here's the things you got to think about with regards to the money management or risk management side when you're doing your trades, right? And then even then you won't listen, right? Probably because you're like, no, I can make money. That's going to happen, and you got to just accept that's part of the process, that learning process. But then the sooner you can get to that place where what you're doing isn't getting you to where you want to go, and you go, hey, I got to focus on my process and get that squared away. The sooner you're going to actually get to where you really want to go. And what that might mean is you paper trade for 3 months, build that process out. You don't need a real record. You don't need to risk real money until you're comfortable. And then even then, after you go to real money, then you're like, suddenly, how come I'm trading differently? Then you got to figure and cross that stage out. That cross that stage. But the important thing there is, don't focus on the money you're going to make, because you're probably going to lose. Focus on building that process out. Focus on the risk management and capital management rules, and whatever you can find out there to read on that, or talk with more seasoned traders, and pick them. Don't pick their brain about, hey, what moving average you use. Okay, pick their brain on how they manage their money. Great. All right, let's move on. Okay, so entry and exit management. So that's another big part of your system that you can figure out. Are you going to also do scaling in and scaling out? When are you going to enter? Right? You don't want to just say, because I feel like it. There's actually, you can wait for retracements, right? And say, hey, you make a decision for, okay, I like this ticker. I think it's going to go here. So I'm going to enter if I can get it at a little bit of a discount. A lot of people would benefit from just being a little more patient and saying, I'm going to enter at say a 10 or 20% discount. If they get it and then get in, great. If they miss it, they miss it, right? But the other big part of it is when not to enter, right? And having that rule in there so you don't get caught in FOMO. And we all get caught in FOMO, but the more you can structure that and have some rules for when to enter as well as when not to enter, the better it's going to be for you. And then also exits. Does every trade have to be a home run for you? I mean, for me, no. For me, it's good enough. Like, people that trade with me know that, hey, if I get my entries and where I think things are going, and I mean, it could be much bigger wins on some, but a lot of the times when I enter and I can get 2 to 3x my risk, I know that when I do that, that's my exit. So I'm not necessarily, part of me is it's based on the chart, but the other part of it is based on, I got my 2 to 3x off my risk, right? And that means if I was risking $1,000 and I make 3,000 on that in a move in 10 minutes or half an hour, I'm going to take profit. I might take all of it, I might take half of it or 80%, but I'm going to take some amount, and then I'm going to watch the chart and make a decision on what's going to happen from there. But I know, I have complete faith, because of my process, that if I consistently exit at 3x my 2 to 3x my risk, my account does not have a choice but to double within 1 to 3 months. Sorry, go ahead.
No, there's a couple questions in chat that you can probably help address. I think people may be not quite clear on the difference between what you define as risk versus trade size. And as Mary said in chat, like getting 300% on your trade size is hard to do. It's hard to find those three baggers, but
Oh,
300% risk is more
yeah, yeah, yeah,
achievable.
yeah. Okay, yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, so here's quick. Risk does not mean capital. Okay, a lot of people confuse that. So when I'm talking risk, I'm talking about where I might stop out, right? And so my sizing. So say I'm getting into something, and I'm getting 10 contracts at $1, and my risk is $300, right? So I'm risking 300, but I'm using 1,000 in capital, and my goal is to sell those 10 contracts for, because I'm risking 30 cents, for $1.90 or more, right? Because if it gets to $1.90, I've made $900, and I was risking $300. Now, meanwhile, on the capital side, yeah, it's only, I mean, it's 90%. Okay, that's fine. Who cares? Who cares if you got a two, whatever? It's based on your risk, not on your capital. At least for my process and my style, it may be different for you, and that's part of what you have to figure out. So for me, what I found is if I enter and time my trades right, I will consistently get at least two, if not 3x, and sometimes 5, 10, 50, or 100 if it's one of my crazy um, plays or plans. Um, but the key thing to be aware of is it's part of a process and it's part of a plan on when to exit, and also when do you want to add to the position. Hey, something's working, and I'll exit. People see me exit all the time, and then they'll go, "Oh, now he's going back in and he's paying more." That's because it's proven itself, and then it may stop, and then I'm like, "Okay, I got to cut it. Okay, I lost a little bit on it. That's fine," but it was based on my own rules for round entry, exit, sizing, and I don't do it willy nilly. I actually have a process that I follow for when I want to when I want to add, when I want to exit, when I want to cut. May not always be perfect, but that's where that whole um, continuous improvement comes in. And then also, guys, your trades are not going to be perfect. There isn't a perfect way. You have what you can be excited about is that you have a process that you executed well at, right? But if you try to optimize for perfection, you're gonna get stuck. But if you can find a process that gives you consistent results, if it's a little bit in or a little bit, you could have made a bit more or less, but as long as you're able to achieve that, if you're able to find a process that's going to give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5% gains consistently, right? Your account will not have a choice but to double within 1 to 3 months. If it's 1%, it's closer to about 3 months. You're doing 1% daily. If you end up getting 1 to 5% and maybe say 5% daily, it's going to be within a month, right? But the point is, you have faith, and it will double, and that helps you get away from the I need to be greedy and have home runs every day, right? At least for my process. Maybe you have a different style that works for you, and you got to figure out what that is for you. All right. So also part of the training process is having tools and services that support you. So there's my watch list that I put out. There's Black Box Stocks, which helps with option flow. There's Edumomo Edge, which I'll go over a little bit on. And some of you may have heard of this, maybe not, but Edumomo also now has a 2-hour trader program. And so that's another service that might help people for what they're trying to do. So let's go over them a little quickly. So here's my watch list. The format of it generally is I give some context or a little bit of below, and then some context about what I think is going to how things may play out for the day, and then I go through each ticker and I give levels for where there may be key inflections where you might want to risk for a buy, a long, or a short, or watch for a change in trend. And then some copy and some text around what I think may happen on that particular ticker during the day. So that's have been helpful for people. And then I've just started this today actually, and just because I wanted to start showing people about how the watch list can help people, even if you don't get an alert, that the potential and the setups that you can find in the watch list and the levels are pretty nice. So based on the comments, for yesterday there was a play off the dip on 103 that you could have got the 110 calls for around $1. Those hit 280, and then if you held them through today, those would probably be like $3 or $4, probably $4. Remember where Apple ended today. And then Zoom was huge. The 450 calls at $12. And I think it closed that it went from 12 to 28, and then today I think it was close to 40 or more on those 450s. And so that's a great risk reward. And then Nvidia also on that reclaim of the 480. So it went down there, made a triple bottom, and then came back over 480. And if you took the calls, that had a nice run as well. Okay, so there's definitely good trade ideas that you can find from the watch list. Then there's black box stocks. If you've never tried that out, I use this as a for option flow, and so the purpose of that is what is big money doing around the stock that I'm looking at. So I don't follow it blindly. I take flow, I take the charts, kind of combine the information, the price action, and what's going on with the flow, and where the support and resistance levels are, and combine that information together, and then see, hey, is there a good risk reward here for this trade? And if there is, then I might take a trade on it. Okay, Edumomo Edge. So this is a new product service that's going to be coming that will be combining watch list, alerts, trade journal, and more. That's all I can talk about on it right now. But I think the origin of Edge is that there was things that I needed to help my own trading, and for me able to trade more better. And so that's the origination of Edge. And so I use it in beta, and I think it's going to help other traders. So looking forward to sharing more of that in coming weeks. Okay, so then there's the 2 Hour Trader program. So this is not for everyone. It is geared toward larger accounts, and that's because of the style, my particular style of trading. And so it's geared toward 50K plus accounts. It's focused on helping people develop their trading skills, learning about risk reward, building the better process, and the members that are part of this group. We also, as we're setting up in trades, we talk through the trades. So we're explaining the thinking behind the trades, and then I'm sharing the targets around where I think things are going to go. So so far the program's been pretty good, and the members are from okay profits. So actually, yeah, I'm pretty proud of the results that they're getting. Yeah. All right, let's continue. Okay, Erin, let's hear from you. So she used to be a teacher, was questioning whether or not she should trade, and let's hear her story.
Yes, so hello everyone, I'm Erin. As Spectre said, I was a teacher. I started my trading journey as a swing trader and had made some moderate gains and thought I could be a day trader. So I up and quit my job and used the money I had made from swing trading to fund my account. Swing trading is so much different than day trading, and I learned that pretty much from day one. So I threw everything I knew about chart reading, looking at levels, I threw it out the door, and I started this journey of scalping. And scalping was great. I would make $1,000, and then I would lose 800, and then I'd make $2,000, and I'd lose $3,000. and it went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I had given myself 2 years to be profitable. After a year and a half, I wasn't negative, but I wasn't very green either. I had made some moderate gains, definitely not enough to live on. So I had basically 6 months left to make a go of it. So this was January of this year. I had decided that it wasn't going to work. I had started looking for jobs again, and I was ready to quit trading. So then a friend told me about Spectre, and I was at this point I had gone through like 4 or 5 different groups, and none of them were a good fit. Didn't like their trading style. I didn't really like the follow the leader, where they give you trades and you take the trades, and hopefully you got in the price they got in, and hopefully you could get out when they got out. And it was very much, let me just do what he's doing and see if I can do the same. And it just didn't work for me. So anyway, got to January, I decided, okay, this is not for me. I can't do it. I can't day trade. I'd wake up in the morning, my stomach would be in knots, didn't even want to trade anymore. So that's when I met Spectre. And January was a great month. I stopped all of that crazy stuff I was doing before. I stopped scalping. He started talking to me about risk reward and actually looking at the chart. Amazing how that can change your day. Finding your levels, trying to figure out what your goal was, cutting the losers, letting winners run, things I had never done before. With scalping, you're in and out. You don't really worry about levels as much. You're just in there to get that quick buck and then get out. And maybe it works for some people, it didn't work for me. But when January rolled around and I started trading with him, that first month was great. Even after 2 weeks, I had seen a huge change in my trading. Spectre, spent a lot of time going over things with me, and I guess trying to get me to see the error of my ways. I was probably really hard-headed in the beginning, but at some point I started listening to him, and like immediately I saw changes. And basically it went on from there. I continued doing well the next few months. I had 1 month where I slipped up really bad, lost a whole month of gains, realized I went back to bad habits and cut that out again. And got back on track. So as of this year, we're 9 months into this year, 9 months I've been trading with Spectre. I have made more than my salary that I would make for a full year of teaching. And if things keep up, I'll be able to double that for this year, hopefully. So that's my goal for this year now, is no longer just to replace my salary, it's to double my salary. And I think I can do it. Right now, my goal is to make 0.5% on my account each day. And right now I'm averaging that. I'm increasing my account 0.5% every day. I do want to get up to where I'm increasing it a full percent each day. So that's it.
Thank you, Erin. That was a great share. I mean, it's amazing, right? And so what's even more impressive to me is, so the folks that have known me and the alerts that I've taken and the trades that I've done, Erin doesn't take those. Maybe every now and then she does, but she did her gains without my crazy monster runs, right? Like, so she's not taking these trades and then end up suddenly getting a 10% or 20% pop in her growth. She's just been doing her consistent 0.5%. Sometimes
Right.
maybe a
And
little more, a little
sometimes,
bit less, but you kind of skip these big runs, and you're still kind of growing your account like consistently, right? And
right. If I
so,
followed some of your crazy trades, which I call them crazy, but you know exactly what you're doing, but they still scare me because they're fast movers, right? And I'm used to my slow movers that just give me what I need to make for the day. But if I followed like some of these great trades that you're doing, then I would definitely be doing my 1%. And that's something that I need to work on.
yeah, but the important thing is, it's not follow we're not follow the leader, right? It's about trading the way that's comfortable for you, right? And matching to your own personal style. That's what I was talking about earlier, right? Is you have to trade to your own tolerances and your own styles that come out. and discovering that. And so, I'm actually incredibly proud of you, Erin, because, um, the diligence that you have in your trades and the consistency, I mean, it's amazing. It's just absolutely, absolutely amazing. So, um, yeah, kudos to you. Keep it going, girl.
Thank you.
Okay, let's continue. Sorry, guys, this is going a bit longer than we were hoping. All right, so not having a mental capital check. That's another big thing, right? So for me personally, it's led to bad trades. It's led to revenge trades and substantial losses. And I'm talking the kind where 30% in 2 or 3 days. And and it's because well, there's two parts. One, having the mental check, and then two, having the how do I say this? I want to say this, like the respect for yourself, that to recognize that you see that it's bad and you got to walk away, right? And I wouldn't, because I am like, I'm stubborn. I'm like, well, it doesn't matter that I'm not feeling right, or I'm whacked on my emotions. It'll just work, and it doesn't, and it just ends up hurting you more. So having that mental capital check and then the follow through to walk away it's a skill that you need to develop, right? And the sooner you can develop that and recognize when it's not your time or day to trade, the sooner you're not going to hurt your account, and the sooner you'll get back to trading and growing your account. All right, so not having a community focused on continuous self-improvement, I think, was also a barrier. So I was also part of a number in my trading journey. I was part of a number of different groups, but there wasn't one that actually was kind of like focused on me and trying to help me grow and improve, right? Where somebody would actually reach out to me and say, "Hey, how's it going? What did you do in your trades? Okay, Okay, maybe you can change this." There just wasn't anything out there that I was aware of, and none of the groups that I had joined did anything like that. And so the tip here is, each day reflect. Don't focus on reflecting on, hey, what did I don't know your P&L. Don't reflect on what you made or lost, but what could I do better? Trade. Did I execute that? That's what I mentioned earlier. Did I execute the trade well or not? Whether that I mean, that could even mean that you took a loss on a trade, but if you executed on the trade correctly, honored your stop, that's a win. It's just one trade of many. So it's okay if you had a stop and you had a loss. Just one trade of many, but you have a process and you have your setups, and you know that when they hit, they're going to pay. And sometimes they don't, because that's part of the game. So yeah. And then maybe the market changes and you actually have to change yourself. That's another story. But that's something to be aware of. Okay. And then so another big part of this is, for why I say got to have a trading process, is, you want to stop going from failing and getting frustrated to being able to trade from a place of confidence, right? Having a trading process is going to give you that confidence. Maybe not at first, but the more you do it, the more faith you're going to have in yourself, right? Especially as the process proves itself. There's going to be some places where you're doubt and you have to do some refinements, but as you get that refinement to happen and that process gets fleshed out, and you can see how these charts are going to play out, and these trades are going to play out because of your process and your analysis that you've done, the more confident you're going to get. And I think having confidence is a huge part of trading, and that's part of the psychology side of the game. Because when I have doubt, I stop out and I take these small losses and they add up. But when I'm confident, because I'll stop out before it hits my stop. I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Right? I'm risking, say, $500 on a trade. It gets to 200 red, and I'm not feeling confident for the day for whatever reason, and I stop out. Meanwhile, 2 minutes later, it starts going in my way, and I could have made $1,000. But because I was worried about that, losing that other $200, not honoring my process, not that because I wasn't feeling confident, I missed out on those gains. Plus, I took a $200 loss, right? So having that building your confidence up in yourself and in your process is going to be a big part of this, right? And that's part of that whole psychology that's into this, right? So what you got to do, start by setting up a checklist and a framework to get your process defined, right? So you go through that checklist that I had mentioned earlier and start flushing out all those items that were in there. Okay. Then start monitoring what's working, what's not working with what you're doing. Then work toward continuous improvement. Okay, this one thing. And it doesn't have to just strictly be about your trades. You could be trading and suddenly your power goes out, right? Okay, so what do? Okay, then you might need to set up a backup power supply, or you gotta make sure your phone is ready with your trading broker so you can take trades off your phone. But every little thing that's involved in your trading business, when something fails, don't just say and bitch about it. Figure out, okay, what are you going to do the next time it happens? It may never happen again, but be prepared for the next time. Another thing is you have to accept that it's going to take time. You're not going to be able. Some there are always the superstars that are out there, right? That will figure stuff out and just like rock it right from the beginning. I certainly wasn't one of them. You just got to accept it's going to take time, right? And you should assume at least 6 to 12 months. Like I said, industry standards 3 years. I think the way we do things is getting people there much faster. 6 to 12 months. I think people are getting profits consistently, and having a repeatable process. So not just that process, but part of the definition of that process is it has to be repeatable. So a repeatable process is going to equal repeatable profit. Okay. You don't have a repeatable process, you're not going to have that repeatable profit. It just isn't going to happen, right? And if it does, it might be luck. So another tip: take the time to learn and realize what you don't know. Right? There's a lot that you probably don't know. So get the tools, get the services, and people in your life that will help you get there. Right? All right, let's continue. Okay, so summary. Sorry, it's taken more than an hour. Just remember and realize we all started from somewhere, struggled, persevered, and kept moving forward, right? So you can get to a place where you can be a profitable trader, but you can't keep going without having a plan. So trading without a process will make becoming successful at trading long term nearly impossible, right? So you might have a run, incredible run, 3 months, 6 months. You don't have a process, but you're just like, hey, I buy this, I swing, but the market's in a big uptrend, right? So you just know that, hey, even if it drops, it's going to go back up, right? I think that's what happened with a lot of people, and their accounts grew and grew and grew, and then suddenly now we're having corrections and we're having chop, and the time isn't, contracts are not moving up fast enough time, and they're blowing up on and they're losing money, and you have to come back. Was it was it because you had a good trading process? Maybe you did for that environment, but now you don't have a process to adjust for the new environment. Okay, and then you got to ask yourself, hey, is it better to lose money to the market or invest it in resources and people that can help you move forward, right? So how many times do you go and lose $1,000 on a trade or $500 on a trade, right? And people do that a lot, but then they're not willing to spend $200 or $500 or $1,000 on education, right? So my thought on that is spend the money to early, because in people in education, right? And you don't have to spend money. There's plenty of free resources out there. You just got to dig for it and find it. But I find surrounding yourself with the right people is going to help you get where you need to get to a lot faster. And if it costs a little money, then it's better to invest that than it is to keep taking trades that you just keep losing on, right? So you might as well invest it in yourself. So, anyways, that's the summary. I hope this was a helpful little webinar about discovering your process, the things that you need to know, things you need to figure out, and the there's a lot of parts to it. There's absolutely a lot of parts to it. But if you keep at it, build your process, build that out, and you're just you'll get there eventually. All right. I'll just hang out. You guys have time? Should we answer a couple questions? Okay. All right, cool. Well, then I'm going to let's see. I'm going to just look quick scan. More about how tos on actual things. Yeah, Mary, you spent a lot in education and getting more read. Yeah, I spent a lot of tuition directly with the market. The yeah, I'm not so part of that is that in that education, I'm not sure how much of that was in um you might be trading you might need to change your time frame when things get volatile. You might need to adjust your time frame for what you're trading and where and how and also the size of what you're trading. Uh, the All right. So thank you everyone for coming. Just don't forget to subscribe to the newsletter on edumomo.com and keep using the watch list. And we'll talk to you again. Take care.